Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are here, and once again, it is our great pleasure to be in your reality. So, here we are. It is a new moon. That's the very good news. It's always nice to be able to rely on something. And, of course, the moon is there in the sky. Who knows who's controlling it at this point, but nonetheless it is a fixture of stability in your world. And when it is new, as it is today, it means that the sun and the moon are in alignment. It is a 4 degrees Pisces moon today, and so it is new beginnings. If you are a gardener, you might want to be starting your seeds indoors on this day, February number 23, 2020. Yesterday was a big day, numerologically. It was February 2020. Lots of twos there, which are indicative of what you will be experiencing 2 years down the road when you get into even more twos. And 2 years down the road, we have been highlighting for quite a while as a potential year for global health crisis. But it appears that things have leaped forward and not staying in line, so to speak. They've gotten out of their lane and things are accelerating. So these are some highlights that we start off this afternoon's discussion with. But we'd like to welcome all of you. We have a global audience, and we like to acknowledge the people who tune in all over the world. We are always reaching out, and our theme is to enhance excellence in awareness. That is what we are aiming for. Could it be possible to turn the sound down a little bit on that machine that is heating the room up? Just so it's not so loud. Is it possible? Yes. You want the heat, but just not as noisy. Good. Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. All right. So yes, we are welcoming everyone, and of course, awareness is the name of the game. You must learn to enhance your consciousness, and in these very complicated, convoluted times of chaotic and excessive cover-ups, it is befuddling to many, many people. And when people are befuddled and they are confused, they tend to dissociate or create distractions. And of course, the media that runs your world today from one end to the other is purposely driving all manner of confusion and polarization into the people of Earth. This is no accident. Reality is many, many layers of expression. You call it many chefs in the kitchen, so to speak. And you must always be able to factor in the physical reality, what's really real, the reality check of life. You want mental, how clear are you in your rational thinking, being able to be objective in your assessment of information. That is what rationality is all about, an age of reason, to objectify. And then there is the emotional end of this. So you have physical, you have mental, you have emotional. Today the media is using emotionality to trigger people's timelines, their past lives, their sensitive issues. And of course, when you get too emotional about things, you can become deeply irrational. And yet, if you don't have good emotional intelligence, you'll not be able to figure anything out, because with emotion comes the second sight, the insight, the intuition, the gut feeling in the body, that area between the third chakra, the solar plexus, and the heart, third, fourth chakra. What is the body telling you when you really tune in and listen? And then, of course, you cannot skip the spiritual end of things, because you are all here incarnated in a human body, what looks like a human body to a large majority of people. There are some others around, but we'll cover that later. So you have this spiritual development, and what does that really encompass? Spirituality is many faceted. Some people think that spirituality is based on obedience to a higher authority that is not of this world. That's one definition. Others would look at spirituality as a morality, where your moral values reside. And of course, your morality is going to really play a huge role in how life unfolds for you. If you are immoral, and that means anything goes, you do whatever you want, eventually you destroy yourself, you destroy others through one means or another, whether it is sex, money, rock and roll, or whatever. There is immoral activities, they have their own consequences. For other people, spirituality is a word that encompasses the non-physical aspects of life. For example, the ancestors, the deceased ancestors that all of you have, that sometimes come back to haunt the world because they have unfinished business, or they died in some type of trauma, or you have ancestors who are guides, who assist you, who care about you. Sometimes the ancestors are you yourself returning to be your own guardian angel, so to speak, helping you to make proper decisions. So physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual must all be factored in, and this is a part of any incarnation in any lifetime. You're going to work on these particular issues. Now, when you look at the historical record of Earth, the large majority of people throughout time have first had to master physical reality. Who am I, and how shall I survive? These we equate to the first two chakras in the body, the chakra at the base of the spine, and the second chakra, which is oriented towards sexuality and creativity. Red and orange. Who am I? How shall I survive? Or how shall I survive and who am I? They are interchanged. And modern times, 20th century, brought a great advancement in terms of sanitation, opportunity, education, health, travel, and even the last 30, 40 years. Billions of people have been uplifted around the planet out of physical despair. And they are able to get a picture of life. Sometimes these people have cell phones, and cell phones are ubiquitous around the world. You know, we are no champion of cell phones, but nonetheless, you have more people having a cell phone today than they have running water and toilets. So this is something to scratch your head about. If people really cared about people, you'd want to make sure that they had sanitation and food and proper water and things of this nature. But if you wanted to control them and track them and surveil them and get them addicted, well then certainly you would look for something that could be put in everyone's hand, and of course you know what that is. They are the cell phones. So all of this is, let's say, a foundational understanding for us to build a deeper explanation on and around what you will be experiencing in the immediate now, the immediate future, and over the decade of the wowing 20s, yes, where you will say the word wow over and over again. Perhaps you'll even hear yourself say it now and again, but to be aware of this this underlying recognition of how much is going to rock and roll your world and create change. But now we are at a moon afternoon, where we get to really open up and explain in larger detail some of the accelerations of events that are pancaking. They're simply flopping one on top of another. And in all of this, we want you to be very aware that you cannot trust your governments. People are pointing the finger at China, saying, well, they have lied over and over again about so many things. And this coronavirus, which the Chinese came out to the world, and after almost 6 weeks or a month or so of obfuscating what was going on and attempting to do colossal cover-ups, they announced to the world around January 22 that the Wuhan city in Hubei province, center of Chinese manufacturing, was in quarantine. This is a city of, we believe, 12 million people, something quite large. Beijing, which joined the quarantine later on, has between 22 and 24 million people. China has over 20 cities with 20 million people. Today, the word on the street, or yesterday, the word on the street was that at this point in time, 600 million people are now under lockdown. 600 million people, you have 330 million people in the US of A. This is twice the number of people in the entirety of your country now in sequestered isolation. The Chinese people do not have the extravagance of square footage. It's quite the best way to say it. Today, all around the cities, people are saying, oh, buildings going on. They're building 3, 4, 5,000 square foot houses. The Chinese people live in a few hundred square feet. They may sleep many to a room. They have no big closets. They go out shopping every day. Everything is on the street. They eat on the street. They buy on the street. A very different lifestyle. You cannot imagine it. Even if you do visit China, and you visit as a wealthy Westerner, going over and being wined and dined as a tech executive, you may travel 7-star, 10-star, super premier first class. They keep you away from the poverty and from the workers. So Wuhan in Hubei province is the manufacturing heart of China. China, for 20 years or more, has been driving the abundance of the world economy. And you know, when China built the Great Wall of China to basically isolate China from the West, it was built along the Mongolian border, and it begins a few hours west of Beijing. You can go and up onto the Great Wall of China, and it is thousands and thousands of miles. When people were sick, when they were troublesome, when the workers who built that Great Wall rebelled, they were buried into the wall. Just so you understand the warm fuzzies of China. People are expendable from their point of view. They have been persecuting Christians and Muslim Uyghurs, Falun Gong people who practice the old traditional Chinese methodology of health and healing and energy work. Falun Gong people have been completely suppressed in China. They are considered dissidents because they will not follow the communist way. When you are in a communist state, it is authority rules. You have no rights. You have complete surveillance. Political correctness is of the tightest of tightest corsets. If someone says stay inside, you stay inside. If someone says this is an octopus and you say it's a cow, you are shot. This is strict authoritarianism that comes with a type of communistic rule. One top dog, everything is top-down control. And of course, it's all about the collective, the village, everyone has to live the same. No one can have more than anyone else except those the oligarch communists at the top. So this just gives you a picture. But if you are in one of those bustling cities, it's hard to tell that this is how the structure is run. Now, all those bustling cities in China have come to a screeching halt. Now, while all this was occurring, this China lockdown on their country, the forced quarantine, came 10 days after the Saturn-Pluto conjunction on January number 12, which we suggested is going to be about breaking, broken, broke, and breakdown. Broke is not just my bike broke, it's also, financial systems are broke. No money. So this is a theme, one theme for 2020, for those who are outside of integrity, for all systems, people, and situations that are dealing with dishonesty and corruption and lack of caring, lack of looking out for the betterment of humankind.